Hey guys, welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Binier and Ash Paulson to discuss the 3 new Zelda Wii U rumors going around. So let's get started. Alright guys, so there's 3 new big rumors going around for Zelda Wii U right now, and they come to us from Emily Rogers, who's been pretty reliable in the past, bringing us a rumor of Paper Mario coming to the Wii U, which turned out to be Color Splash, among others, such as the Mother 3 rumor coming to the US, which the verdict's still out on, but really hoping that one's true. Anyways, in today's case, the 3 rumors are Zelda Wii U is confirmed for NX. Rumor number 2 is that voice acting is coming to the game for everyone except for Link. Then we have rumor number 3, which is that you'll be able to choose Link's gender, between male or female. So these are all interesting rumors, and I do want to say real quick that in looking into this today, I actually heard similar rumors, or I heard basically confirmation of these rumors. But putting that aside, what are your guys' thoughts on, first off, the credibility of these rumors? And then I guess we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of each one after that.
Well, before even that, I gotta say, we have impeccable timing with our Real Talk clips.
Right?
I can't believe we just got the timing right on that we could, we'd be down for it, but everybody except Link, and what do you know? The first thing that comes out is everybody except Link, as one of the rumors. But as far as
for the voice acting, yeah.
Yeah, for the voice acting. As far as the credibility, I actually completely buy this.
Whoa!
I know, right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, you're buying a rumor? Let alone 3 rumors?
Yeah. And you're not angry about them?
It's Emily. Well, first of all, these 3 are 3 rumors I really like. I think, first of all, the first one, it coming to the NX, everybody knew that. That's not even, it's hard to even classify that as a rumor.
That's true.
But the other 2 also just make a lot of sense, and I could see it kind of happening, and I have no issues with either of them. And Emily has proven to be very reliable in the past, so yeah, I actually do buy these rumors.
Same here. I mean, none of these rumors really feel like they're implausible to me. They all feel kind of like a natural extension of where Zelda was always going, in my opinion. It's going to be really weird hearing voice acting in Zelda. Yeah, even if Link isn't part of it, it's just going to be so strange because Zelda's been such a stalwart kind of holdout in terms of adding voice acting for so long that it's just going to be really bizarre to finally hear full voice acting in a Zelda game. Although it's going to be scrutinized to hell and back, only because it's something that people have been kind of wondering and waiting for so long. Coming to NX, that doesn't surprise me at all. I kind of figured for a while now that it would be a dual release. Wii U and NX, not surprised there. Being able to kind of create your own version of Link based on gender, I think it's interesting. I'm kind of of 2 minds on this because on one hand, I kind of prefer it when Link is a little more established himself or herself, per game. But on the other hand, Link almost never has his own personality, so I can see why they're going this route if they are, and I'm cool with that. I kind of just wish that if it was going to be a female Link, they would just go all in and just make it a female Link and make that your established character this time around. I'm not a big fan of the create a character type thing. I can see why it works for Zelda, because Link is mostly a blank slate, but I've really enjoyed the games in which Link isn't a blank slate, like Wind Waker, for example, or Spirit Tracks. So, again, I'm of 2 minds of this. I kind of wish they just go all in on a female Link and just let that be the character, but I can see why, if this is true, why they're going to go with like a, create your own, choose your own gender Link type thing.
Okay, so gender, that is a big one. I have a feeling that's going to be a sticking point for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
So on the face of it, I think that's cool. That's exciting. We've actually talked. What's funny is we've talked about every one of these aspects before. When they first showed off the trailer at E3 a couple years ago, a big question was, is Link female? Because it was a little bit ambiguous at the time. And I know the game's director has since come out with comments where some people are reading into them as being confirming that Link was in fact male. I thought his comments were a little more vague on the matter. But regardless, I thought that was kind of funny how that's been an issue since the game was announced, and now we find out that you may in fact be able to play as a female Link. And on the one hand, I think it's awesome. I think it's great to have a female Link. But on the other hand, you basically stole the words out of my mouth, Ash. I'm not a huge fan of the create a character thing either, because I like when you have an established character in the game. And being able to choose a gender that would seem to me that they're going to go with a type of narrative that depends less on Link himself, like as having much of a personality. For instance, maybe that's going a little bit too far. But for instance, like in Skyward Sword, they kind of introduced like a whole romantic angle a little bit, which is something that was kind of new to the series. So who knows if they were even going to continue that anyway. But I would guess that they wouldn't continue or do something along those lines if you are able to choose a gender, just be able to bring up a whole bunch of other issues.
Well, that's sort of the way that they've kind of established Link as a character in some of the games that don't really focus on him as a character too much. Like Wind Waker, he doesn't really have a love interest per se, and then Ocarina of Time, where he doesn't really have that much of a personality, he has like 5 love interests. Like every girl wants him. So it is kind of funny to go that sort of way. But I agree. It is, with a created character, you do have a shot of losing personality, but I think a lot of games more recently have been able to inject personality into created characters. Like, say what you will about Xenoblade Chronicles X, were able to sort of shape a personality for your character based on your responses. Not necessarily their actions, but their responses. You definitely sort of got more of a character and their body language and whatnot. And then, of course, the poster child for this is Mass Effect, where you can create a character and they actually have a full-blown personality that you sort of guide along. So I'm not too worried about that. The only big loss, I think, would be the romantic angle, which they don't even necessarily need to go into at all for a Zelda game to even be that fun. I mean, it makes it kind of interesting to see Zelda and Link have a kind of a thing together, because I did like their relationship in Skyward Sword, but I don't think choosing a gender is going to kill all personality within Link. At least it doesn't have to, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit weird, because on the one hand, in many of the games, Link hasn't really even had much of a personality. It's more in the more recent games, and by that I would say from Wind Waker on, maybe even since Majora's Mask to some degree, but I'd say really from Wind Waker, that it's started injecting more personality. So in a sense, I think this might almost be a step back to how the older games worked, which is fine. Like, some of those older games are are among my favorites for the series. But, I did like the evolution of what they're doing with the story. As to your point, Derek, of being able to kind of like carve out a personality for your character, yeah, that's true. I mean, tons of games have done that. I don't know if I care that much about that. Like, I don't tend to play those games. I'm not a huge RPG guy in general, as you already know. I like having a story. Like, I want to play, like...
You want a story told to you rather than making your own.
Exactly.
I don't want to be carving out, Link's personality in this case. But again, it sounds like if all you're doing is choosing a gender, I don't think they'd be going that far. I think they'd be going more to the older Zeldas, where their Link just doesn't have much personality, or at least, as to the extent of Skyward Sword, say. So I don't know. I mean, it's probably fine. Like, this by talking about it is making it seem like a bigger deal than it probably is. But if I were to choose, I would rather they just straight up went with either a male or female Link, and made the game based around that, as opposed to, as Ash said, having the choice there, which I feel like could limit the storytelling a little bit as compared to some of the more recent Zeldas like Skyward Sword.
Well, and I think the problem is that having a character creation thing kind of like this, it kind of makes Link, him or herself, feel less like an organic, natural part of the world.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
He or she lives in, than it does just kind of like an avatar who is literally there for the benefit of being a video game character. It takes me out of the experience personally, and I actually replaying Twilight Princess HD now, I had kind of forgotten how neat it is that Link really does feel like a lived-in part of his own world. Like, you can tell that he has a lot of history with Ordon Village and his neighbors and all the villagers, and I like that. Ilia, like, I do like that aspect of Twilight Princess. Same thing with what you said, Derek, about Skyward Sword. I don't know why I didn't even think of that first, because Wind Waker, he does have a personality there, and I love it. But Skyward Sword's like a poster child for that, because he actually has a romantic relationship with Zelda, which I really loved about Skyward Sword. I really liked that it characterized their relationship, at least that incarnation of Link and Zelda. And I don't know, I just fear that having, being able to choose Link's gender, I just feel like he or she is not going to feel like a natural part of their own world.
See, I completely disagree with that, because what does it matter? Like, in case of Twilight Princess, where there is no love story angle, and you pop in a female Link into that, what changes about that story? What kills his personality, or in this case, her personality, by having it be a choose your own character, whether I could choose male Link or female Link. Maybe it changes some of the connotations between his interactions with Ilia in this case, but I don't think it changes anything else. He would still feel lived in that world. So yeah, I don't see. I can kind of see where you're coming from, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as you might think.
I guess it's because I tend to view Link, even though that's not necessarily what Nintendo or Miyamoto has ever intended, or Aonuma has ever intended. I guess it's because I view Link. I've always viewed Link more as a character himself than just an avatar. Now, Nintendo's gone on record many times stating that's not really how they mean for us to look at Link. Link is literally named Link because he's supposed to be a link between the game and the player.
Right.
So it's really, Andre and I are the ones who are mistaken for looking at Link the way we do. But it's just I can't help it. I mean, I kind of grew attached to Link as a character, I guess, of ever starting with Ocarina of Time, really, and really especially with Wind Waker, because in that game he had his sister that he had to save, he had his grandma, like he had a place in that world. And now it is way too early to judge Zelda Wii U and NX in terms of the gender choice. Like, you may be absolutely right, Derek. It may not matter one bit, and Link may feel just as independent a character either way. But I don't know. It's just I always shy away a little from character creation, because I really think the only game I've been able to play where you create your own character that I've actually felt like my character had their own personality was Mass Effect. And even then, they didn't really. It's just because I kind of made it up in my mind that they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
can, like I said, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but again, I just think about, because I think of Link as his own character too. I don't name Link myself.
Right.
Or anything like that. He's always named Link, because that is Link to me in each of his different personalities. But again, what I'm trying to, I guess, go off of is the fact that, let's say Link was female in Wind Waker once again. It really doesn't change that much. He can still have she could still have those goofy expressions and those goofy reactions and having that personality, because you're not actually creating a character. You're just choosing whether it's a male Link or a female Link. I don't think you'd be able to change anything else about the character, just male or female. And I think that safely keeps the Link character as his own character, or her own character, and they could still easily build a story around this. Just the only thing that would be changed is the romantic angle, in which you could just drop that entirely and have no issues.
Yeah, I don't know. It just having that choice kind of just makes it feel like it's a little bit generic to me. Like they have to offer this generic version of this world that can't really cater to either a male or a female Link. I don't know. I would rather just like lock it into one. Like, I almost feel like having a choice is a cop-out. Like, it's like, oh yeah, here's your female Link. Some people want it, but if you want, you can have your male Link too. It's like, no, go all in.
That's
Yeah,
exactly.
Lock it in, make it female, and I want a story based around that.
That's the thing, is it kind of feels like Nintendo's just paying lip service to the people who have wanted a female Link, or who would like Link to be female, by offering the choice. And it's cool that they're offering the choice. I give them points for that. But at the same time, I really would love to see them have the guts to just go all in and say, hey, Link in this generation, in this game, is a female. Deal with it. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, so wherever Zelda Wii U and X takes place in the overall timeline, whatever, this incarnation of Link is a female. Cool. Okay, awesome. Let's move on. Like, I just think it would make more of a statement and be a little more interesting if Link was actually, established as a female this time around, instead of just kind of a half cop-out by giving you the choice. Again, I respect that they give you the choice, but just go all in.
Yeah, I totally get you, but this is Nintendo. They're going to do as tiny as much of a transition as they can before they go all in and see the reaction. If there is a hugely positive reaction to the female Link, and we already seen sort of steps like that with Linkle in Legends, I could totally see them in a game down the line going all in with a female Link.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, well, so there is one interesting aspect kind of tied to the gender idea, and that leads into the second rumor, which is that there will be voice acting for everyone in the game but Link. Because by having multiple genders, wouldn't that mean they have to record multiple lines of points too whenever they mention like Link's gender, like he said or she said or something?
They kind of got around it in Final Fantasy X, in how they never you could change the main character Tidus's name, and for that reason they never actually say Tidus's name in game. None of the voiced characters. They always refer to Tidus as him or he, or so. I think it's easy enough to get around.
Well, the more interesting thing about that is, you talking about characters reacting to Link. We actually need to get a female Link with all the grunts and sound that he makes, like the yas and all that stuff. That's going to be the biggest thing for people, I think.
But at any rate, so having voice acting in a Zelda game for everyone but Link is kind of big news. Like, that actually might be the most surprising thing here, just because this is Nintendo. They've been so against us for Zelda so far. Although we have seen them move into more and more voice acting, as of late. Of course, there's Star Fox, but that's nothing new. But then we have Fire Emblem, which is fully voiced. Xenoblade Chronicles. I think there's been a few other games too that have had.
Well, even Hyrule Warriors, I had like a narrator doing voices.
I've seen some people argue already that like there's no way Nintendo's doing this. They've been against us this entire time. Why would they do it now? And I'm like, this is the perfect time, especially given the fact if this is in fact an NX title, which of course it is. They're gonna want to launch Zelda as being the premier game, and I think having like launching this game with voice acting, this could get people who may not normally would be interested. You know, this is the time to do it. This is the time to go all in and reach as broad an audience as possible. And I think having voice acting, as silly as it might sound, might be the thing that helps with that. Like I think that will actually cater to other people who may not normally look at a Zelda game.
The voice acting, having another gender, and the fact that it mainly looks like it's going to be Skyrim-esque, and the fact that the just size of the world and the way you explore, this definitely does cater to a Western audience who like Skyrim or Fallout or stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm a little nervous in terms of how I'm going to feel about this game, just because it is going to be open world, at least to a degree, and I typically don't really like open world games. So I don't know. It's going to be Zelda's definitely going in a new direction, it seemed, for this game, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to feel about it, to be honest. I mean, I'm certainly ready to love it, but at the same time, I'm like, there are a lot of changes being made to cater to a Western audience. It seems that, you know, I may not agree with all the changes, and it's going to be interesting to see where Zelda goes in this entry for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. It does seem to be like they're changing it up the most, at least in the last decade or so. And just for that reason alone, I'm excited. With that said, it could turn out to be terrible, but it could be amazing. And I do think Zelda might be a little bit overdue for a drastic change. So I'm hoping it turns out well. But I think this is exciting, and even though the voice acting is going to come down to, of course, whether they do it well or not. If they do it poorly, everyone's going to be like, well, it's just stuck with text. But if they pull it off, I think this could be really well done. And especially, I don't know if it'll be that jarring even. Because it might be jarring if Link were to talk. With the fact that he's not talking, or confirmed to, or going by the rumor, he won't be talking, which makes sense. He never talks anyway, really. Even in text form. I think this will just help the world feel more alive. Especially in a game where the world seems to be more alive than ever before. And you know what's funny is going back to playing Twilight Princess, it's almost like they had lip syncing in the game already. Like the characters, like they actually talk, like they actually are, their mouths are moving as if they're saying these words, but they're not actually saying anything.
It is weird.
They were already most of the, like halfway there, right? Now they need to put in the vocals to fill in that gap.
Yeah, I mean, as I said in the real talk, it makes perfect sense, and we already have voices established in our heads for these characters. We know how Zelda's supposed to sound. We know how Ganondorf is supposed to sound. Get voice matches to that because they're Japanese actors, and we're golden.
Right.
Yeah. I just hope that if voice acting really is coming to Zelda in this entry, I hope that Tingle's not in this game, just because I don't ever need to hear Tingle talk. I don't need to ever hear Tingle have fully voiced lines. He's already annoying enough as... God, he's already annoying enough as it is. I just hope Tingle's not in this incarnation of Zelda.
Yeah, so I think, at the very least, I think this so far, these two things, regardless of how I feel about either of them, are exciting. Like, this points to big changes for this game, which makes, that already is in line with everything else we've seen about this game. Like, everything about this game seems to be dramatically different than from what we've seen before. And, like, if they, if they really nail it, like, this could be a freaking awesome NX title, especially if it's a launch title.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And with them saying they want to make this, like, as Ocarina was to this franchise, they have ambition for this game. A ton of ambitions. And to see, this is just additions to that ambition where we have a female Link. We have a fully voice acted other than Link. It really does feel like they want to go all out with this entry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and by the time assuming it releases later this year, it'll have been 5 years since Skyward Sword, which is that's a pretty hefty development cycle by most standards, not by Square Enix standards, but by everyone else's standards. That's a pretty long development cycle, so they've had a lot of time to really just go all out with this. It's going to be very interesting to see what they have come up with.
So I guess the final thing here, we've already touched on some degree, as well as multiple times before, is the final and the first rumor Emily put out there is that the game is confirmed for the NX. Which, duh, of course.
Yeah. No kidding.
This is such an obvious thing, especially, as I mentioned, combined with these other changes. Like, they're going, go big or go home. It's something they're going big for the premiere, for what I'm guessing is going to be a launch title for the NX.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's almost a given now that this is coming to both systems. More interesting to me is what differences there will be, if any. Like, I wonder if there will be some really compelling extras or graphical improvements that really set the NX version apart from the Wii U version, or if they don't want to risk pissing off Wii U owners, or their fan base by making the NX version that much better. I wonder if they'll kind of just dial it back and try to make the two versions as, feature comparable as possible.
That's a great point. I'm basically expecting the game to be essentially the same. I mean, like it was a Twilight Princess. Though maybe even to a lesser degree, given that they flipped the entire Twilight Princess world.
Yeah, right.
However, I could see them boosting the visuals. Like, if any of these rumors are at all accurate about the power of the NX, it sounds like it'll be at least a decent step above the Wii U. So it could just be that maybe the game will be running at, instead of 720p, 30 frames per second, maybe 1080p, 60 frames per second, or, maybe just at a high resolution even. Mm-hmm. Maybe those make it look better, give it a few more effects, who knows. The interesting thing, though, is that given the fact that Zelda, they've so far, from what little we've seen, they're putting an emphasis on the gamepad's use in the game, that would seem to suggest that there would basically have to be some kind of gamepad equivalent for the NX, right?
Theoretically, yes, unless there's no gamepad support. Well, actually, they've already shown what the gamepad can do.
They have, yeah.
On the Wii U, so that would be the case.
Well, and I feel like, I can't come up with like a bunch of specific examples, but I feel like there have been a lot of signs over the last few months pointing toward that idea that the NX is either going to be compatible with the Wii U gamepad or is going to have a Wii U gamepad type solution for games that use the gamepad in that sense. So I feel like it's almost a given at this point that the NX is going to have some sort of gamepad-like solution.
I just can't wait to see what's going on here, and I say this a lot, but this time legitimately should not be much longer because E3 is happening soon, and they have to be talking about it then, right? So,
oh God, yeah.
Famous last words.
This is going to be an insane E3, is all I can say.
It is. It really. Nintendo's. I feel like they're pretty much going to have to come out swinging this year. But to be fair, though, how many times have we said that in the past? And they somehow end up not really coming out of the gate all guns blazing and end up kind of disappointing. Like even last year, we were talking about they have to just go crazy with the Wii U this year. It's going to be awesome. They're really going to a corner Nintendo is the best Nintendo, and then we got Metroid Prime Federation Force. So I agree with you that it really has to be a big NX Zelda blowout this year. But with Nintendo, you never completely know.
True, but I feel like I feel a little bit more confident in saying that.
Sure.
Or more confident than last year saying that because it's a new console, and that's
Yeah, I mean, what was already saying, Ash, we should maybe be expecting an export of Federation Force.
Yes, exactly.
Launch title.
Yeah.
This year is. The fact is they have to bring it. Like, this is the launch of a new generation. If going by the rumors. And again, given the fact that they have confirmed Zelda Wii U for Wii U, unless there's another delay, which would be ridiculous but not unprecedented, the NX also has to be coming this year, and it has to be a launch title for the NX. So yeah, I want to see what's going on here. But do you guys have any final thoughts at all about any of these three rumors that we touched on but haven't fully addressed yet, or are we done here?
I like all three, and I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it. I believe that all three are probably legit, and I'm looking forward to seeing where all this goes.
Yeah, same here. I would say I like 2.5 of these rumors.
Yeah, 2.5 I think is good. Yeah.
Now I'm going full 3.
You're going full 3, going all in. Man, this is a whole different Derek today. Man,
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. What's going on here?
You guys are so negative today. What the hell?
Alright, well, I think that wraps up for us here. So thanks for watching, guys. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. You can find links to them in the description below, as a good way to keep up to date on everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain for more on Zelda Wii U, NX, and other things gaming as well. Catch you later. Bye.